auxiliary is the backbone to our hospital.
Well, caring is the house of healing, isn't it? And we're part of that.
There's a lot of pride in it. Pride of what all these men now and women do for the hospital. And
it's our county, it's our hospital, and it makes you proud. Yeah.
Because we're united in making a difference.
We're in this to help where we can and do what we can in the auxiliary.
It makes me feel good, and I think it's filling a need.
We're so involved with the whole auxiliary with so many different parts of the community.
But I just want to help any way I can, you know.
It's for so many people to come together and work together and fundraise so much and do so much for our hospital. It's really amazing.
We care about the people, about the community, about the hospital.
I think they're a very dedicated group of people.
And it is a demonstration of the commitment of this community to healthcare in Prince Edward County.
Caring, compassionate. After looking back through all the historical things, I think dedication is the big thing. Tag Day was 34, Public Relations was 60, Gift Shop and Cart was 60, Bursaries 61, Blood Donor Clinic 61, Remembrance Fund 67, Library Cart 73, Second Time Round Shop 73, Patient Services 78, Marathon Bridge 78, Craft Group 79, Mammography 87, Coffee Cart 90, and Coffee Shop 91, Meals on Wheels was 91, Dialysis 2002, and then the endoscopy in 2013.
Because the volunteer service in my day was a lot different than the volunteer service of today. The volunteer women of back in the 40s, most of them were doctors' wives or politicians' wives. And all they did, they had an old treadle sewing machine and they sewed up anything that needed sewing. Because there was no OHIP or anything then. We couldn't afford to buy stuff. So, and they sewed it, but they just sat there and did it. They didn't help even visit patients or anything like that. You see, you had to pay if you were a patient in the hospital. A lot of people paid by produce because the county was a farmer's dream, really, at the time. And with the government's either assistance or interference, things are different.
So I find it interesting to actually look for facts about the auxiliary. For example, in 1919, they actually started helping the men, do their tag day, although they didn't actually incorporate until 1934. If you look through the old records too, people have been buying some unglamorous equipment for 80 years. You see commodes coming up again and again. You see mammography equipment come up again and again. So at each stage of more impressive technological developments in imaging, the auxiliary's been right there, you know, helping the purchase of equipment. We've raised well over $2 million since the start of the auxiliary. I think people look at $2 million and it doesn't mean as much as the smiles, the pat on the back, the helping people. Everybody knows that equipment keeps increasing in cost, but kindness comes with no price.
I just think the auxiliary is a fantastic organization that really supports our hospitals and our patients and makes their stay here more home-like.
I think because they have the time, you know, they can, like somebody just wants to talk, or somebody that can't get out of bed would really like a magazine, so they can have, you know, take the time and do those kinds of things.
There's a lot of demands on the nursing to look after particular patients when they're ill. they don't have time to tend to the whole family all the time, so the auxiliary members are quite capable of doing that, and they have the time to do it, and they have the willingness to do it.
We call ourselves ambassadors, and I think it's a wonderful title because that's a bit what it's like, because many times when people come into the hospital, no matter where you are, if you meet them in the corridor, you meet them at the coffee cart or whatever, they're coming for something, maybe, or to see a doctor, and they're a little nervous, and they really appreciate you just even taking them along a corridor to find where the bathroom is or whatever, where the elevator is.
And they are so wonderful at directing people, and kind and considerate, and they've all been there, so they know what people want to hear. They know what the patients want to hear. So very, very helpful.
The patients love the auxiliary members. They're such a friendly, warm face when you walk in the door. You walk in the front door, they're there often with the coffee stand, and they come and visit us in the emergency department, and we see them wandering around helping the patients with various aspects of their functioning in the hospital. They're a very warm contribution to the care of people, and I know that our patients are all very grateful for their contribution. From the family health team perspective, the participants in the cardiac rehabilitation program are immensely grateful to the hospital auxiliary, and all very aware that the hospital auxiliary was integral to the creation of that facility.
For many years, they're just a constant presence in our community in so many areas. I am one of the owners of the clinic next door, and since we opened in 1990, we've had a little coffee bar that's constantly staffed, and there's just been hundreds of volunteers that have been working in there.
And what they do in the community, the second time around shop, which I love, because I do go there once in a while just to shop till I drop when I'm bored.
I have been in the auxiliary for 33 years and worked in the second time around stores for that length of time. That has been 5 stores in total that I have worked in. It's been a service for the people that can't afford. But the other day, there was a lady came in. She came up to the counter with a whole lot of kids' clothing. And I said, "Boy, you've got some beautiful stuff here." And she said, "Yes." And she said, "If it hadn't been for this store, when my kids were growing up, they would have been bare-assed." One of the things that really affected me in this last drive we had for the mammogram machine was when I went in to have a mammogram. And I said to the girl, "How do you like your new machine?" And she said, "Oh, it's just wonderful. It's so fast and easy." And I said, "Well, I work in the auxiliary for this." She said, "You do?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Well, you go back and tell them how much we appreciate this." And so knowing that they appreciate it as a technician, as well as the feeling we get that we have given all this money, it's a great feeling.
They have recently given us help with the purchase of a bladder scanner. Another one is a vein finder. Reduces the number of intravenous tries that we have to do with people, and I'm sure that the patients are very thankful for that piece of equipment. They've helped put us together a beautiful staff room for us, and they've done the Mary Scott room, and they keep that up, which is another place for families to go when they have patients that are palliative and they're staying in the hospital. And it's just been a wonderful place for families, and I could just go on and on.
Oh, certainly. It gives you that good feeling when you work there, and everyone works so hard, and we all work together for the same cause, and it's special. And when you see that money coming in, it makes you feel even better, knowing that every penny you make goes to a very good cause. And obviously, the hospital is a very good cause. In all my business life, I've always done very different types of things. So this is much more meaningful. I mean, before I'm making a living, but now I'm helping others.
My 2 years of being on the board and with the Festival of the Trees, I found that it's a lot larger organization. it's a corporation. It's just like a business. In fact, our throughput of dollars and things like that that we handle to be able to give out to the hospital, to the foundations and charities, and buy equipment for this hospital is way larger than I ever imagined.
I'm Betty Evans, and I joined the Auxiliary in '78. And I came in and right away got a job. I was the treasurer, and as a fundraising effort, we decided to try something new. So my friend and I started the Marathon Bridge, and it's been going ever since. Well, it's certainly important to the hospital. They give and give, and the money they give is tremendous. And on top of that, I think it's good for public relations. People know that it's not just the hospital. It's got a lot of backing behind it.
Both my grandmothers are in the auxiliary, so I kind of grew up volunteering a little bit, doing the blood donor clinics and stuff. And I actually received a bursary from the auxiliary for a couple of years, which really helped me with my tuition and my books for school, and everything made it a lot easier.
I also participate in Tag Day, and I happened to be in front of the liquor store that one day with my little box and my tags that you would give out if they give a donation. And this little old man, and I could tell, I mean, you could barely see his head above the seat, pulls in to the liquor store and parks the car, and he's going like this, and I'm going, oh, the poor fella. So he says, sweetie, dearie, can you come over here? So I go over to the window, and he says, here's $20. Can you go in and buy me a Mickey a gin? I said, well, sure, I'll do that for you. So, I mean, we do all sorts of things, you know. He gave me a toonie from the change that I got.
One of my patients, her husband sadly passed away, and after staying in the county for maybe a year, her family persuaded her to go to Guelph and buy a condo and live closer to where they lived. And she did that for a year or so, and she became terribly depressed. Finally just said, I'm leaving. And she sold it, moved back to the county, and didn't know what to do, and went to the second time round shop and volunteered. And she just loves it. It's literally saved her life. It's her favorite activity.
Yeah.
And it's just in her case, doing that volunteer activity has actually been extraordinarily beneficial for her. And for me, that's what it's about. I suspect you could tell many stories like that.
And I guess, yeah, we just, when we moved to Picton, we just wanted to get involved. I think it's just fantastic that there is a facility like this in Picton, and it's something that people should support.
Well, you're giving back. And the times I've been in the hospital with various things, I've always appreciated a volunteer. Someone who can tell you, what hall to go down. There was always a smile. And I thought, you know what, I could do that.
One of the things that we're trying with the 80th anniversary campaign is to get younger people to think about the auxiliary and see how they can be involved.
I know that people are drawn so many different ways in this day and age that it's important that if you can, you do.
If you took away the auxiliary volunteerism, it's like taking away volunteerism in many other aspects of our community and our province and country. The thing would just collapse.
No matter what aspect that you volunteer, I think the main reason you're there is to care.
There's no such thing as an unassisted goal, and I think that that's exactly what the auxiliary is like, that the people are there doing all of their small parts to make the organization work well.
So you make lasting friendships.
I really want to be able to come back and work in Picton, so I just really want to thank them for everything that they've done to help me become a nurse.
Working at the auxiliary and coming to the hospital and getting the treatment that my husband's been receiving, it's like payback. It makes it, you know, worthwhile.
It comes together to make a very healthy community and a wonderful place to live.
The goodness of people and how kind people can be to try and help one another, and especially here in this county. You know, people are wonderful, so we're very lucky.
That's a great feeling, you know. You can sort of stick your chest out with pride.
Well, sure, I personally, having been born in this very hospital, and I know having personally received the benefit of the great volunteer and financial contribution of auxiliary members, I'm extremely grateful to the hospital auxiliary as it has been in the past, and I look forward to working with them and seeing them grow in strength in this community.
So thank you for the thousands of hours and just being there and always being willing and happy and smiling and cheerful. And
You know, just a heartfelt thank you.
You know what? I don't know how you thank these women. It's just like you could say thank you forever, and it would never be enough.
And I think we all consider our hospital little but big.